Hello, this is Teresa Quay. I'm the treasurer for All Souls Unitarian Church in Indianapolis, and I have made this recording today to give a little overview and some insight into our budget that we'll be presenting at our congregational meeting on May the 6th. So I am going to share my screen. And move this budget over to where everyone can see it if you want to take a look. Make sure that it is big enough that you can see. Before we get started though, I'd like to just do an overview of an executive summary that we've done that gives just a little bit about what our budget is going to, we hope, accomplish. One of the goals that our board and Reverend Katie have established for this year is to increase our multicultural and multi-generational growth at All Souls. This budget is going to reflect those priorities and we hope get moving in a positive direction. As part of that, we contracted with FaithX to learn more about the needs of our community and now have a lot of information that we hope will help us to move in the right direction and be able to provide services not only to the members of our congregation currently, but also to our neighborhoods around us. And one of the things that we have done is to increase our revenue numbers by adding some grants to our numbers. In addition, our congregation has been very generous in their pledging this year, and we have far exceeded our original goal, which was $350,000 in pledges. We're budgeted now for $379,000, which allows us to have more funds available to meet the needs of the congregation and our community at large. Going on to the totals, we're budgeting a total of $572,620 of revenue this year. There are notes alongside many of these. I'm not going to go into them in detail, but if you want to spend some time reviewing that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that any of you might have. We have reorganized somewhat our budget to better categorize things and also to make sure that we are including things in the budget that may not have been properly budgeted in the past. So in order to have a comparison, rather than comparing to last year's budget, we're comparing to the actual year-to-date of 2022-23, and mostly by totals, since so many things have been moved around. When it comes to staff salaries, there were a lot of things that were in different places in previous budgets, and we've combined them all in one place now. So, and we're pleased that we can offer our staff a 6% cost of living adjustment for this year. So that is one thing we're doing. And under property, we now have all of the expenses for our building and property in one place. And that is the total budget, $95,656 for that. We have all of our administration expenses in one place, as well as our dues to UUA in Mid-America. And so our total for this year is $41,400, keeping in mind that it's actually less because in 2022-23, under administration, technology was listed, and now we have a separate listing for technology. One of the greatest needs of our congregation in order to make us more welcoming to communities around us and to younger people is increasing our technology expenditures to do that. We have all of our technologies in one place now. We're doing website refreshes, social media boosts, as well as having someone come in and look at our audio-visual technology and help us to buy the best of what we can use. Closed captioning is another thing that we're adding on this year. So our budget this year is $18,408 for all of our technology. Music and sound includes all of the expenses related to music except for employees. Employees used to be under music and they're now listed under employment. So that was moved as well. So this is all of the other expenses, $12,600 total. We broke down religious education and membership in adult programming into two categories. And all of the expenses for the religious education and faith formation come to $8,300. It is more this year because previous year did not include any outreach, and no background checks, no OWL training, and no marketing. Membership in adult programming is a new category for this year, and it includes a lot of things that are funded by grants in our revenue. So be sure to check what's in revenue to see what we're using those grants for in expenses. Under worship, also a new category this year, we have $10,200. Other expenses include a variety of things, but the share the plate donations are here, volunteer background checks, stewardship, all of our justice and outreach expenses, and discretionary expenses by committees as well as by minister. Our total expenses for the year come to $593,572, which is a $20,952, puts us $20,952 in the red. So we also have our capital expenditures down here. We have tried to budget for both known and unknown expenditures for the year, $43,000 total. We're also setting aside cash. These are not actual expenses out of our pocket, simply a transfer of assets to a sabbatical fund so that when Reverend Katie takes her sabbatical, we have funds set aside to help pay for that. So we'll set aside 25% per year for 4 years. We're also transferring $25,000 a year to our building capital reserve fund so that we have funds available when we need to make major expenditures. So that's what those funds are set aside for. In order to cover the shortfall in our budget, we're drawing on the endowment based on the Harvard model. That is the number that we have from our building reserves, which matches our capital expenditures you saw above. And then we need to draw on operating reserves, $22,223. And that will bring us to net zero after those transfers. We are working hard on working towards a balanced budget in future years. One of the things that you'll note under the revenue is that we have put together, or we're going to be putting together a fundraising task force to find other ways to produce revenue for the church. If you have any interest in being a part of that, be sure that you talk to Reverend Katie. Now, I'm going to stop sharing. And I thank you very much for your time in looking this over. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.